Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and today's video is going to be covering the changes that hit Warlock both on retail, a pretty big one today, and War Within beta. Some tuning came in, some bug fixes, and some gains, some nerfs here and there. We'll look at that, maybe some sims, a little bit of combat along the way, and explain all that, because tomorrow, or I guess actually today, in a few hours when you're seeing this video, is raid testing. We course add-ons if you want them. Links to Twitch and Discord down below. You can get them for free. You can get them for free there. Voting for the MMO awards is ending in a couple weeks. If you guys want to vote for me or anybody in general who's nominated, feel free to do so at MMOawards.com. That'd be awesome if you wanted to. And the War Within Warlock beta spreadsheet is indeed now live on Patreon for the Tier 3 Failguard rank or higher if you want early access to it. It does indeed go public at some point regardless if you want it later on. But if you want early access, that is indeed on Patreon. If you guys want, there's a link up here as well as down below in the description. And it covers basically rating, gearing, talent builds, sims when they're ready, so on and so forth for Warlock heading into the expansion, a little ahead of time. With that being said, let's get into it. Alrighty, so getting into the changes here, we have a couple of things to look at. Now, these changes here are the ones that hit beta today. As we know, beta has different changes in tuning and talent things and bugs from pre-patch or retail. Retail is currently pretty bugged, a lot of things happening, double power on certain talents, some talents not working at all. I found out today, Purple Dog is better in single target than Red Dog. Purple Dog being Shadow Dog and Red Dog being Fire Dog, because Fire Dog is not scaling with haste on retail like it does on beta. So if you're playing Red Dog and single target, change that talent. But regardless, tuning today, this is going to be the beta changes. Now, there's not a crazy amount. There's some that tuning is the major focal point of beta now. Some changes might come to classes like Rogue or Shaman that are getting worked on a bit. For the most part, Locke is probably done seeing major fundamental rotational changes and stuff. It's more tuning, but we're getting into it here. So, Hellcaller, Seeds of Their Demise has been modified to reduce lucky and unlucky streaks when granting Flashpoint or Crescendo. You could go infinite with Crescendo, probably Flashpoint to a certain extent too, and heavy AoE settings and all that. It's probably there to fix that and also give you some procs if you had unlucky streaks. Tested it, it felt similar-ish. It's hard to tell because a lot of things happened today, which we'll get into in a minute here. But it felt fine. It's probably okay either way. We'll see where it goes long term. We can feel it out more, math it out more. Zephyrum's Resilience. So we hit on this a few weeks ago, actually, in a feedback document in a video. Others have as well. But this is the talent that whenever you pop Dark Pact, it heals you. It heals you for, I think, 10,000 health. We have 5 million now. It now heals you for 100k every second whenever you have Dark Pact active. So it's actually relevant. It'll heal back some of the health and sacrifice. It's not bad. It's worth taking, I'd say. When it comes to Affliction, Soul Conduit for Affliction and Destro has become 5% again. I'm not a fan of this change. In a non-toxic manner, legitimately, I don't think Soul Conduit was the issue why Destro has these Rain of Chaos, Rain of Fire builds. The issue there is because Chaos Bolt's undertuned. Our shard economy is a bit too high, but that's because of Overlord, Overfiend spawning so often with Rain of Fire spending shards and Soulfire giving shards, all that stuff. Soul Conduit was not the issue. I have logs. I had them somewhere here half an hour ago where I had a solid 2 shards given to me from Soul Conduit over a 4-minute fight in raid testing. So I had multiple logs showing that. Destro gave me 5 shards back over the course of a 3-minute fight in mass AoE, actually. The Soul Conduit nerf was not needed. I think it should be reverted again to 10%, but whatever. Honestly, it probably doesn't matter a whole lot in the long run. Just our capstones aren't the best again for damage, and that's that. Besides that, hey, well, we have a couple issues here where TC was not correctly checking if it had these dots active. Didn't know it was even a thing, but hey, that works. This is a big change here to Affliction. Cold the Weak has been fixed. Remember that weird damage scaling where it was 8, 16, 24, 32, and 40, and 1 to 5 targets? It would do different damage to each target based on what target it was labeled, basically, whenever you cast Rapture. That's fixed. We'll look at it in a minute here, but every single target is getting either 8, 16, 24, 32, or 40 based on the number of targets that Rapture hits. It's been fixed. It works. It's a significant buff to Affliction when it comes to M+ stuff on beta. We'll play it this weekend. Should be good. Demonology has been fixed as well. Impending Doom now summons an imp, which is good. Wasn't working before. It works now. Cool change there. When we get to destruction, let me turn off this raptor screaming in my ear here, sorry. When it gets to destruction, this is where things start to get interesting. So they buffed Rain of Fire by 35%, and they buffed CDF's damage to nearby enemies by 25%. Now, as we all know, Rain of Fire has been, like, in the most recent builds, our main spender in single target because of just, realistically, the shard economy. We have so many shards coming in and all that. And once again, I don't think Soul Conduit was the issue with that, but you know, that's something in itself. With Reign of Chaos and Orpheum being active so often and Soulfire giving a shard, that's where like a lot of the soul generation or a soul shard value comes from, right? But either way, if you played Destro in pre-patch, it feels really bad in AoE, whether you have cooldowns or not. It feels terrible outside cooldowns. So a significant buff to Rain of Fire, albeit these are beta buffs, it might happen in retail at some point, I don't know, is likely needed regardless. It will make the Rain of Fire builds a bit stronger in single target, essentially, but they also fixed the bugs on beta, with Power Overwhelming giving 1% instead of 0.5 per stack, and then Rain of Fire with Inferno giving you 3 stacks instead of 2. So that was fixed as well. Obviously, this bug we talked about a minute ago, this nerf. The CDF buff, it's whatever, it's what it is, we'll take it, but we'll get to that in a second here. So I have sims here very briefly looking at, these are current like pre-patch sims. I will say this highest build here is single target, Rain of Fire, no Inferno. Let me zoom in a bit here for you guys. A lot of combinations here. I'll link it down below. Actually, I don't know if I can. I have to download it. By the way, this is it. This is the build, TLDR. It's this. This is in pre-patch. It still might change. Keep in mind, like, Shadowburn in this, I believe... let me check here. It has the actual damage amp on it, like the 80% buff. It does not have that in pre-patch, so these are more talents I'm looking at playing in beta, but we didn't sim hero talents here because they're not implemented yet. I don't even know where sim's at. It doesn't matter. But this is the build here either way. We are not playing CDF in this build anymore. You might wonder why. Why are we not playing CDF anymore? Well, the hot fixes today. These are beta changes. We just looked at here. All this stuff here. They also made Soul Swap a thing in PvP for Warlock again. Sort of cool, I guess. These are beta changes here. There was also a set of hotfixes pushed to retail today, and there's a big one. The big one, Decimation can now only trigger from critical strikes dealt by your direct damage ability. So like Rain of Fire and stuff can't trigger it. Not a big deal. Immolate periodic damage, I don't believe can either. But there's another spell that is a non-direct damage ability. That spell is Channel Demon Fire. So they broke the Channel Demon Fire, Soul Fire reset stuff. It's not that I'm like mad, I'm just disappointed. Because like we finally got CDF and Soul Fire to be generally accepted, like among the Destro community and Warlocks and all that stuff. Then he broke the synergy. I'm not mad. I think there's better ways to approach it. You can just make this give you an Instacast Incinerate like you used to and remove the Soul Shard generation on it. I mean, if you wanted to keep this synergy working, I get that it might have been a bit too much like Shard Gen and all that, but we're not playing CDF, I don't think, anywhere at this point. Again, if this is going to be the case, here's my Soul Fire. This is on retail to clarify. I'm on retail right now. We're going to cast this, cast CDF. I'll sit here for a minute or two and cast this, but I've done it a million times on stream tonight. CDF no longer resets Soulfire. It cannot do it. Just can't do it. Soulfire can reset naturally via Decimation by just having crit strikes from Chaos Bolt or Conflagrate or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. But CDF has a 0% chance to reset Soulfire. So, there is a very low chance you end up playing CDF anywhere. We ran those sims a minute ago with CDF in them. You don't play it anymore. CDF is dead again, it looks like, unless they fix the synergy, which it's not working. Here's my Soulfire. Apparently it's worth casting Soulfire Natty without the actual proc as well, if it comes off CD, if you can backdraft it via a conflict rate. Just heads up. Or yeah, so this is still worth casting if you can do it, but no CDF anymore. So this change is on retail. It is not on beta. On beta, you can indeed still reset Soulfire via Channel Demon Fire. So I'm assuming this change will likely hit beta. This is beta to clarify. This change, we're going to go full screen here. This change will likely hit beta at some point, but we got a beta build tonight and it wasn't in it. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with it. I don't really know. There's a Soulfire cast here. There's a CDF cast there, and there's a Soulfire. It works on beta. It does not work on retail. Why? I don't know. Is it going to make it to beta? Chances are pretty high it likely will. I don't know why they nerf it on retail and not on beta, but that is that. So we ran the sims with it all. Like I showed you, the best build looks to be something like this, roughly. This is whatever, something like this, essentially. You're still playing decimation, all this stuff here. The next highest, I can show you in game, actually. Both these builds. Like, this is like the best rate of fire build. If I can change talents here, please leave combat. Please leave combat. There we go. Ignore these talents here. It's whatever. Just look at these. This is like the Rain of Fire build here. Looks to be the best. There's a bit of flexibility in Flashpoint versus Fiendish Cruelty versus Inferno versus Cata. You can play. This point sort of goes wherever you want. Doesn't really matter a whole lot. But this is the best build when it comes to the Rain of Fire build currently. It looks like in Sims and all that. No CDF. Soulfire resets look to be reduced by about 35% not playing Soulfire. Sorry. Yeah, these look to be reduced by about 35% not playing CDF, but is what it is. What can you do? This is the Chaos Bolt build here. All you do is take these 2 points, bang, bang, and put them there and there. That's literally it. You cast Chaos Bolts instead of Rain of Fire. This build looks to be behind by about 20k roughly in single target. I'm likely going to play this build here tomorrow in raid testing without CDF because of the changes on retail. It does still work on beta, but I don't think it's worth playing because it's buggy, or it's not buggy, but like it'll probably be changed on beta. There's no reason not to change it in next week's build. So I'm probably not going to play this when it comes to testing tomorrow or today, whenever this goes live, and go from there. But that is, you know, well, sort of that. I mentioned briefly the affliction change to Call of the Week as well. This has been changed. It does indeed now affect every target, like I can show you here very briefly. This is beta still, so I'm playing F. We can go AoE. I am in Cold of the Week. Let me do non-Cold of the Week first, actually. Let me pull out of here and go into this. I'll show you what Rapture does when it comes to hitting 4 targets with no Cold of the Week, and then 4 targets with Cold of the Week active. Cancel these all out. We're going to do this. Going to put a seed out. I'm not going to pop it with anything. I'm going to wait for it to just pop on its own. And then we'll look at the actual damage breakdown here in this combat log. It's a little messy. Sorry, just sort of is what it is. About it. Close this up. Seed's gonna pop now. So cool, there's that. We're gonna Rapture. I can cancel this proc first. Now we're gonna Rapture. Rapture does basically 41 across the board. This one crit, just double, right? No big deal. Am I playing AC? I am not. Thank the Lord. Cool. We're gonna leave combat here. I'm going to pull these points out and go back into Cold of the Week here. So remember, 41,000 essentially, right? Now the problem with Cold of the Week last time was that I had that weird damage event thing where it would do like, if I was hitting 5 targets, 8 times 5 is 40. But it would hit 1 target for 8%, 1 target for 16%, 1 target for 24, 1 target for 32, and 1 target for 40. Like increase wise, it would be all different for Rapture. It wouldn't get the full value. But what this talent sounds like is, if I hit 5 targets of Rapture, the game should check on like server ping or whatever, and give me the full amp to all targets it hits. Cool thing is that that is now fixed and it is indeed working. So we're going to do it again here. I'm going to cast a seed. Wait for it to pop naturally. Keep in mind, the first Rapture with no Cold of the Week was 41,000. 1 crit for 81, but that's basically 41. Just doubled, right? Now we're going to do this. Seed pops. No procs here. I'm going to Rapture. Bam. They all hit for 55,000. So it is indeed now working. It is buffing them all the same, barring a tiny bit of variance here. They're all being buffed by that 32% damage increase. 41 to 55, whatever it was. It's working. Tried it in 5 targets too. Also working. So it looks to be working that way. It is not working on retail. Retail, this is working on retail now, but it's working in the weird 8.16.24 version, I believe, that we saw a few days ago. I'm so lost with retail and beta bugs, but on beta, this works totally fine. On retail, it's working, but in a weird way. Play it if you want. But yeah, that is that. All right, now very briefly, I want to show you all the Rain of Fire build for Destro here that I'm playing on beta. This is beta. I am not playing CDF here. CDF does work with Soulfire still in beta, but I assume they're probably going to hotfix it before testing tomorrow, if not at some point in the future. I'm not going to plan on working on beta and not working in pre-patch. This build, I mean, the focus of this build is just to spend shards, man. You got shards through Rain of Chaos, through Soulfire, through Overfiend spawning a bunch here. Rain of Fire spend shards essentially faster, which means more Overfiends, means more Inferno Storm, Rain of Chaos, means more effects here and there, more PO stacks. It's just strong. honestly. Incinerate does a lot of damage here too with indiscriminate flames, your tier bonus, burned ashes, more charge in here. It's an interesting build of Destro. Now, I think the best way to fix this Rain of Fire thing, just with whatever build you're playing, but casting Rain of Fire, just buff Chaos Bolt. Doesn't hit very hard, honestly. You can play the Bolt build here, but it's not as good. It's about 20k less. But, I mean, this is also like, you know, pre-patch sims versus actual beta, but just need to buff Chaos Bolt. Said it for a few weeks now, honestly. Even before we knew this build was a thing, just need to buff Chaos Bolt. If you buff it, it might even make something like Crushing Chaos better. I don't know what that was. Something like Crushing Chaos better, which means that, you know, you even have less charge in a sense, because this is better than Rain of Chaos. So it further, I guess, makes the Rain of Fire build even less good, impactful, whatever. Just buff Chaos Bolt, man. Buff Chaos Bolt. We're going to look at it here in combat, then we're going to go in and just see what it looks like. Yeah, gonna open up, might scuff it a bit. I don't know. Gonna Soulfire into a Shadow Burn, into a Conflagrate. Gonna put my Infernal down. I'm going to Shadow Burn again and Conflagrate again. I'm gonna Ascend right here, pop my Malevolence here, and begin casting Rain of Fire. It's gonna Shadow Burn, Conflagrate, Rain of Fire. You do want to spend your Ritual procs, if you get them, on Chaos Bolts if possible. But yeah, and also, I will say, I am not playing no CDF here. So these actual, like, Soulfire resets here are gonna be natty, right? They're natty resets. No weird, like, CDF synergy to essentially give me early resets. What I get here from Soulfire procs is what I'm getting from just general cast here through Conflagrates, Incinerates, whatever, so on and so forth. I'm butchering his opener a little bit, but honestly, doesn't really matter because it's still pretty good. Casting Shadowburn, sort of on cooldown, weaving it a bit here to maintain Eradication, but it's still worth casting basically whenever you can. There's a damage gain. We have 3 Soulfire procs so far. Launched this, I ran a fire, and a Conflagrate, cast my Shadowburn here. You need to refresh your Withers a bit more often though, naturally, because you're not getting as many Soulfire procs, which does feel pretty bad, but broke the synergy, it is what it is. Gonna reapply Wither here, pop my other trinket, pop Malevolence again, gonna Soul Burn, a couple shards here, Incinerate into a Conflagrate, one more for a Rain of Fire coming in now. Bolt here to spawn Overfiend. There are some windows here where you get like some awkward lack of shard gen. It just sort of happens to me what you're doing, but honestly, the build's still really strong. The damage is competitive. Just hope the boss stands still, doesn't move a whole lot. Honestly, even if he does, like, the main goal of this build is to spend shards. Like, Rain of Fire does some damage, obviously, but, you know, you want to spend shards, more Overfiends, more procs of this and that and everything else, right? It just works well, you know. I'll go around till my Infernal comes up again here, basically in 20 seconds. I'm going to Shadowburn here, Conflagrate, Incinerate. Should have a Ritual coming up soonish here. A couple more Rain cast, Rain there. Incinerate here, cast a Wither, Conflagrate. Should have a Ritual coming up now after this next Rain of Fire. We're going to Rain here, going to launch this Bolt. I have Infernal in about 5 seconds. My Trinket coming up, so we're going to wait for that. So my Soulfire might actually reset here naturally, which I do want to hard cast with a backdraft stack if I can. Never mind, I lied to you. It's okay, don't worry about it. Infernal comes down. I'm going to Rain now for my Trinket because I overcapped. Trinket, this, Shadowburn, Conflagrate. Conflagrate again, why not? Rain of Fire. Bolt this, Shadowburn, Incinerate, Rain of Fire. Shadowburn, Conflagrate, Rain of Fire, overcap, launched the Soulfire, Rain of Fire twice, who cares, Shadowburn. I mean, my Overfiend's almost permanently active for like a minute and a half here, you know, when I'm coming out of my Infernal and stuff, right? The breakdown here, though, hope you like Incinerate, because, like, our filler spell is our main source of damage. Once again, Rain of Fire, I mean, spawning Overfiends, which is like 9% of my damage, 10%, right? Giving us more like stacks of Blackened Soul because you're casting more shard consuming spells, right? So it's always pretty high. Even this thing being low on health, it's still always pretty high. Soulfire being here, max hit 1.74, max Incinerate being 1 million. But look at the crit chance here on Incinerate, right? Because you're playing Indiscriminate Flames, the talent right here, which Conflagrate stuff, Incinerate damage or crit strike chance, whatever. And our tier bonus as well. Also, Incinerate crit strike chance increased by 20%. Conflagrate 25. When Conflagrate critically strikes, your fire damage is increased by 5 for 6 seconds. So all this weird, like, little additives, synergies, like all this stuff, also factor in pyrogenics and things. It's just strong. It's a weird build, man. This is all pretty much fixed though if you just buff Chaos Bolt. It probably shifts you back to playing something like Crushing Chaos. You play this as well, obviously, and it just makes things better. So TLDR, buff Chaos Bolt. So thanks for watching, guys. It wraps it up, and hopefully you guys have a better understanding of what happened to Warlock today and on in beta and on retail, all the changes and the bugs, everything, I'm doing my best. There is a lot going on right now with tuning and changes and bugs and everything else. But we're getting there. Some things appear to be fixed today. Some things appear to be broken today. But one thing for certain is that time waits for no one, and neither does raid testing, which is in a few hours from this video launching. So if you want to come by and check that out, Twitch, link down below, as well as Discord if you want that. And all my Week Wars add-ons are in there for free if you guys want them. And also, at the end of the video, like every time, a huge shout out to my supporters on Patreon. Thank you for all the support, guys. A million times. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, it should be a link up here, as well as down below in the description. And like I said, I really appreciate it. We have about a month until the actual expansion hits, and I would venture to guess a lot of changes are going to come still. Well, tuning certain things. We need to buff Chaos Bolt, obviously, for Destro. Probably some changes to Destro in general are coming too, because it feels good to play, but numerically, some things are awkward. Destro outside cooldowns feels very subpar, which the Rain of Fire and buffs today are going probably trying to address, but at the same time, you got to buff Bolt now because you're casting Rain of Fire in single target again, and that's awkward. So we'll see where it goes. But thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, hit the like and sub button below. Helps out a ton. And I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.